conditional statements. And conditional statements are statements in the form of if, then. So if something happens, then something else happens. Now we talk about conditional statements in here because of the fact that conditional statements are really how we back up things that we know. They're kind of that foundation in order for us to say something is true. Now, in order for us to look at this, one of the things that we need to know is we need to know how, in rearranging a conditional statement, we get statements that make sense or don't make sense, for that matter. And so we make up different types of conditionals. An original conditional statement is just if this, then this. Now, yesterday I mentioned when I talked about negations, how statements are often represented by singular letters like P and Q. Notationally, for a conditional statement, they have a P arrow to a Q. It literally means if P, then Q, where P and Q are just placeholders for statements. But I can take an original conditional statement that has two specific statements to it, and I can adjust it. I could flip around the P and the Q and go if Q, then P. When I do that, that's known as the converse. And again, as a sentence, this would say if Q, then P. So this would be an example of me saying, if it's sunny outside, then the sky is blue, versus the converse would be, if the sky is blue, then it's sunny outside. That would be what a converse would look like. Now there's also the possibility of taking the original conditional, if P, then Q, and then this one adds the squiggles. Do you remember what the squiggles mean? Negation?
Yep.
Essentially, it means not. This is called the inverse, where you take the original conditional statement and you negate both the hypothesis and the conclusion. So if not P, then not Q. So the converse is the reverse, inverse adds nots, and then the last one does both. It's the most complicated of them, and it also has the most complicated name. It's called the contrapositive. And it says, if not Q, then not P. Today is all about sentence writing. Hence, like I said, yesterday felt like English, today's gonna feel more like English. Yeah. Given a conditional statement, or given actually a P and the Q, can we write the original conditional, the inverse, the converse, and the contrapositive? So, starting with our original conditional. The one that says if P, then Q. I give you the setup. Let P be the statement, an animal is a lion. Let Q be that it is a cat. So the conditional would say if P, an animal is lion. That's this part. This is where we put the then. And then Q means it is a cat. Now, while we are not going to do a whole lot focused on truth value. In other words, if it is true or if it is false. Exploring a little bit on if it's true or if it's false kind of explains a little more why we focus in on this if we're trying to talk about the basis of knowledge to say something is true. So, if an animal is a lion, does that make it a cat?
Yes.
A big cat, right?
It's a big cat.
So this statement would be true. Now, let's look at our adjusted sentences. That's the conditional. We also want the converse. The converse is the reverse. Says if Q, then P. If I'm writing these sentences, it's easy. I'm going to start with if. But if what? Close. We're trying to say this part now. If it is a cat. Now, before I write that, if you're starting off talking about something, if you're just starting a brand new conversation with someone, do you really want to start with if it is something? Do people know what that it is? Depends. If the conversation was started based on you responding to something, that's different. But if someone just came up to you and started a sentence, if it is a cat, it, what's it? What it are you talking about? Generally speaking, it's good to kind of start off with the item you're talking about. In this case, the item is oftentimes found in P. What item are we talking about? Not a lion. More specific, less specific, an animal. So when I put the it is a cat first, I'm still going to put the animal part first. Because in general, the sentences we're writing are about an animal. If an animal, but this time we start with is a cat. If it is a cat, then, flipping around our P and our Q, we are allowed to say, or at least it says we should say, then it is a lion. Now the first one, the conditional statement we said was true. But does flipping around the P and Q still lead to a true sentence? If an animal is a cat, does that mean it's a lion? No. Could it be a house cat? Could it be a tiger? Yeah, lots of options. So we talk about this because rearranging a sentence can change if it's true or not, and we have to be careful with that. Okay. We also want the inverse. If not P, then not Q. That's its structure. If. We have to add a not to the P part of these sentences. According to up top, P is an animal is a lion. Where does it make sense to put not in that? If an animal is not a lion. Remember, when you add the not, you're trying to make the sentence be the exact opposite. The exact opposite of saying an animal is a lion is saying the animal is not a lion. If an animal is not a lion, then we put the not in the Q part too. Yes, it is not a cat. While we are not focusing a whole lot on true or false, it's good to talk about it a little bit. If an animal is not a lion, does that mean it is not a cat? No, we can go back to it could be a tiger, it could be a house cat. Not being a lion doesn't mean it's not a cat in general. Okay, last one it wants us to do is the contrapositive. Which is the not Q, if not Q, then not P. That's its structure. If. I should still start with the general subject of the sentence. The general subject, the general item we're talking about is an animal. But I need to start with not Q. Q is, it is a cat. If an animal, how do I say is not this? Isn't a cat, or is not a cat. I don't care which way you write it. Again, I'm not grading you on grammar, I'm not grading you on spelling, I'm grading you on structure. Did you put the things where they belong? Then, not P is it is not a lion. That is our structure of today. We still got the next page. I want to talk a little bit about some of these things. I think I'm going to skip question B. Move on to question C. Let P be 3x plus 7 equals 19. Let Q be x equals 4. Again, these instructions are the same as what they were on the previous page. Write out the conditional, the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive. Conditional is that PQ, QP, not P, not Q, not Q, not P. Which order does it go with P's and Q's? Remember, you get to use your notes on things. It goes P to Q, P arrow Q. In other words, if P, then Q. Nice thing about these sentences, they always start the exact same way. One word. Yeah. No, I'm hearing a lot from the same people, so I'm going to my name cards. Okay, so if P, what are you thinking on this one, Jackson?
If 3x plus 7 equals 19, then x equals 4.
Exactly. If here's P, then here's Q. That's exactly right. Okay. Converse.
If Q, then P.
If Q, then P. If. Brennan, if this one goes if Q, then P, what do you think the sentence would look like? Okay, so what comes right after the if? X equals 4. Exactly. Now, I wanted the clarification on the opposite because of the fact that opposite means something different in math. But if you meant flip them around, yes. Conditional, converse. Inverse. Jonathan. What's the little symbol version for the inverse?
If not P, then not Q.
Exactly. If not P, then not Q. So, if... Now here's where the challenge comes in. P is 3x plus 7 equals 19. Garrett? How do I say that's not true? And it's okay if you're not 100% sure on this one, but I just want you to give it a try because this is one that trips people up. That's why I did it as an example. Is there a way to say this is not true? Garrett, I had called on you.
What?
I had called on you. Is there a way to say that this is not true?
Oh, yeah, you gotta cross out the equal sign.
Yes. 3x plus 7 not equal to sign 19. Then, Kata, what's the second part look like then? So we're going for not Q, right? This is Q. Cross off the equal again. Then x is not equal to 4. You got this. The last one's the contrapositive. Jack, what's the little symbol-y version of it?
If not Q, then not P.
If not Q, then not P. So, if I need to start with not Q, Mason, what does not Q look like?
If x isn't equal to 4, so cross out the equals.
Yeah, if x not equal to 4. Then, Louis, how do I finish the sentence?
Then 3x plus 7 is not equal to 18.
Beautiful. Inverse, converse, contrapositive. Added to our conditionals. Sentences. We think we can manage?
Yep.
Where are we feeling? Good, somewhere in between, or bad about this?
This is more work than English.
Now, I am aware that this is a lot of writing, so I have a way to make that a little bit easier on you. It's actually easier than typing. And I will show you what it is here in just a second. I just want to get this down. Oh, what's Monday's date? 29th? Now, the assignment technically is page 69, day 2. And it is technically 15 through 21. But this assignment is on Schoology. It is on Schoology in a way where if you go to Schoology, it'll say page 69, day 2. Click on that, and it will open up an assignment that has a bunch of drag and drop. You don't even have to type out the sentences. You just have to match them where they appropriately belong. Because of the fact that this is integrated with the textbook, it also should, I believe, give you answer feedback to tell you if you did it incorrectly or correctly.